Hi guys, welcome back to breaking down the greatest sports movie of all time. I'm Nandita, and in today's episode we are looking at the film by itself and how it deals with gender and sexuality. To recap, Bend It Like Beckham is a 2002 film directed by Gurinder Chadda, who is of British Indian origin. The film follows an 18-year-old Punjabi girl named Jess Bhamra who lives in Hounslow, London. It is a film that's known for its comedic misunderstandings of culture and progressive female empowerment through sport. Jess belongs to a traditional Punjabi family. She's a second generation immigrant. It's assumed that her parents moved to the United Kingdom sometime before she was born. She is a star football player and plays with her male friends in the park to fill every free minute she gets. The film sets us up to see her without female friendship within her community. Her sister's girl culture is alien to her. She cannot relate to her sister who is thinking about getting married. So she turns to the young men in her family and community. Her parents don't approve of the obsession with her sport. Her desire to play football clashes with traditional gender roles, values of modesty, domestic femininity, and Indian or Punjabi culture. The film portrays the tension between traditional gender roles within British Indian communities and Jess's aspirations. In fact, in one of the early scenes of the movie, we see Jess being taught how to make round rotis. This is how the audience is shown her mother's insistence on traditional femininity. The same is done through the way her mother expects Jess to dress. So you can only imagine her parents' views on a girl wanting to play sport.
I don't want you running around half naked in front of men, huh? Look how dark you've become, playing in the sun.
But Mom, I'm really good.
What family will want a daughter-in-law who can run around kicking football all day but can't make round chapatis?
In this cultural context, football is perceived as masculine and unfeminine. And factors like this will only be harmful to Jess's reputation while her parents are looking for suitable men for her to marry. Jess's sights are set on the goal, but her parents and culture demand something else. It's at this point that I'd like to introduce Tony. He is such a sweet boy and Jess's best friend. As a quick fix to both of their arranged marriage problems, they decide that maybe they can be each other's suitors. But why does Tony need a fake suitor? And here's where the intersection of gender and sexuality comes in. He's gay. He plays the classic gay best friend trope that has become so common today. His coming out as gay to Jess highlights the complexities of identity within the diasporic community. Jess's initial reaction, "but you're Indian," reflects the perceived incompatibility between queerness and Indian identity, a sentiment rooted in cultural conservatism. Also, Indian traditionalism is her biggest problem too. But at the same time, it feels like this moment could have been fleshed out a little more. It's just at that time of the movie's release, gay characters were not getting the nuance and screen time that we see today. They were more decorative, and here Tony is simply helping move Jess's plot along and reinforce her issue. While this is of course not ideal, it is very clearly a decision that was made due to when the film was released. In fact, Cherry Bepsi has a great video on this topic that I've linked below. And yes, there is another character that is even more the intersection of gender and sexuality in so many ways: Jules. One day, when Jess is playing football in the park, she is scouted by Jules Paxton, a member of the local women's football club. Eventually, she makes the team and the pair are led into each other's seemingly very different family lives. But the more we get into it, the more I realize that both families are trying to maintain this look of traditional femininity. It's just expressed differently because of the different cultures. Oh, I have so much to say about Jules. Firstly, the film uses Jules to critique traditional roles of femininity. Her mother's insistence on her adopting conventional femininity, like when we see her forcing her to buy a push-up bra, contrasts with Jules' athleticism and independence, qualities that are traditionally unfeminine. She also has short hair, is always wearing athletic clothes, and doesn't really present herself as super feminine or like male gaze type feminine. And that's what I love. I love that Gurinder Chadda challenges the idea that femininity is inherently linked to appearance and passivity. advocating instead for a more inclusive understanding of womanhood that encompasses strength and autonomy. Jules' short hair gets the pair into more trouble than needed because short hair is apparently reserved only for boys. And so when Jess and Jules are seen together, nosy aunties in the Indian community think that Jess is on a date with a white boy, which is as bad as it gets. But Jules' mum is convinced that her tomboyish look means that she's a lesbian and that Jess is her latest conquest.
Get your lesbian feet out of my shoes!
Lesbian? Her birthday's in March. I thought she was a Pisces.
She no Lebanese. She Punjabi.
This misunderstanding acts as a comedic device, but it also serves as a commentary on how society often interprets female closeness and deviation from femininity as signs of queerness. Though never overtly confirmed, the film definitely has a lesbian subplot and is a key part of how Bend It Like Beckham explores gender and sexuality, particularly through the subtext and misunderstanding, offering space for queer readings. Though the film centers on Jess and Jules pursuing their football dreams, their bond has moments of emotional and physical closeness that suggest more than just a friendship. Their chemistry, frequent physical contact, and mutual admiration have led many to interpret their relationship as romantically coded. Scholars and critics have argued that the film presents a queer subtext, even though it ultimately maintains heteronormativity by pairing Jess with Coach Joe. Like mentioned earlier, the only explicitly queer character in the film is Tony, who comes out to her in a moment of emotional vulnerability. His sexuality is acknowledged briefly but is not further explored. In contrast, Jess and Jules' relationship, which is arguably more emotionally and narratively central, is never explicitly framed as romantic, despite cues that suggest otherwise. The film ultimately steers away from a queer conclusion by affirming Jess's heterosexuality through her romantic arc with Joe the coach. Their resolution appeases mainstream audiences and avoids direct confrontation with queerness, especially given the conservative cultural backdrop of Jess's Indian family and early 2000s film norms. Especially because today women's football is such a queer and inclusive space, and so many of the best players in the world are part of the LGBTQ+ community. It makes sense that the audience of Bend It Like Beckham wants this queer subplot to be canon, or rather believe it so much. It is a plot that slots in perfectly with women's sports. While it ultimately reverts to heteronormative closure, it remains an important film for how it raises questions about sexuality and gender without offering easy answers. Thank you for watching episode 2. Our next episode will cover race and culture, so stay tuned to catch that one next time. See you!